IVM.
Good morning. It is once again an 8 a.m. recording session.
See, I don't want to begin with a groan.
Yeah. I was about to say, it's not the worst thing, but when you're getting up, it is.
Waking up early?
No, specifically waking up to be like, oh, I now need to shower and everything. And it's not like I can just leave. I have to then think of the tech exhaustion of like, I need to set up the laptop. I need to set up the mic. Then we'll do a sound check. And I'm not blaming the technicality of it like Deep or Jalasmi. It's just, we said it before, this has just become so exhausting. Like, turn on Audacity. It's not working. Have you recorded here? Have you checked this input? Have you...
I am so happy I didn't have to deal with any of this today because I'm staying at Natasha's house. So at 7:45, I'm like, set up the mic, go, set it up. And then when it was set up and ready, she has called me. Then I said, coffee. She didn't give me coffee. She gave me watermelon instead. So
for everyone who doesn't remember, Natasha is Dash's elder sister.
And if you don't remember, I'm sad, but it's okay. It's never too late to learn about my family.
Yeah, and you can listen to season 1. We have 2 sibling episodes. So, in case this isn't exciting enough for you, you can go listen to them. But today, absolutely not. It's actually, I will let the listeners know, this week is specifically and in particularly bad for me at work. And not bad, it's just the culmination of a lot of work that we've been doing for 6 months now comes to like, we get to present it and there's an audit and all of that stuff. So it's just a lot. It's a lot going on. And I'm super distracted. So I don't know how people take this kind of pressure all year round. I cannot take it for more than 2 weeks.
That's totally fair and fine. I'm glad you've recognized that about yourself. So in the future,
I can't take it more than 2 weeks at a time. Like I can do 2 weeks and I need like a week of normal work and then I'll go back to like high stress.
Yeah. So talk to me. Are you feeling stuck? What's happening, Ayushi? Welcome to your weekly therapy session.
Thanks. I need it. To be honest, with feeling stuck, it does there is a little bit of a parallel because I'll give you a little background. We're going through an ISO audit. And it's kind of like in the company that I work for, there are 4 verticals and out of the 4, 3 have received their accreditation and 1 is the one that I'm working for. That's the last one left. And so not only has this process been going on roughly since a year and a half, COVID really, really threw a big spanner into this whole situation. We should have been accredited by last June.
Right.
So you can imagine how long this has been going on. It's just, and the problem with an audit like this is that the longer it goes, the more things you have to keep showing and you have to keep adding to it because you're like, oh, now we've done this, now we've done this. So there's just been a lot more build up than there should have been because our plan was to finish it off by June. Yeah. So it's easier. And on top of that, it's no longer in person. None of the stuff is in person. So yes, there are some benefits of doing things virtually because obviously, you can, we all know, but specifically in things like an audit where sometimes you need to present and explain things to an auditor because it might not be in the exact same format that they might be looking at it, but the content is there. Yeah. So when you're kind of explaining to them, you're really a little bit struggling over tech because sometimes these auditors are slightly elderly. And while now they've become quite savvy, you still need to send them a lot of stuff. Then they'll be like, okay, now that you're sending this to us, give us like 2-3 days to review the documents. We'll get back to you. As opposed to them spending a week with you and you kind of just run through your functions with them, which is kind of easier because you're just able to show them that, look, it works. The company works. So here, come and look at it.
They don't have that system, unfortunately.
No, they don't have it right now because of COVID. Yeah. It's understandable because auditors are like spread across the entire country, right? And so right now everything is based on Zoom and send email and sharing like a whole bunch of documents. It's that. And because this has been going on since June and we've not been able to get a date again because of the ever-changing nature of whether certain government bodies are working in actuality or they're doing things virtually, we've just been so stuck. We literally have been stuck and we don't know when we need to be prepared for. And about 6 days ago is when we got our schedule and we got our dates and we got the format and flow and everything. So finally we feel like, okay, we can start doing something. But it's been pretty stressful. So yeah, I know I relate to feeling stuck. I do.
Right. Yeah. So this episode I'm beginning to sense right now has
It's a complaining episode.
no, yeah, I was like, shit, yeah, feel complain wale zone mein ja raha hai. Which is fine. We earned it. We deserve it. But I'm getting flashes of last March when we were recording from home.
Yeah, but when Jasmine asked us what we wanted to do today, the first suggestion I had was, oh look, it's
Back
1 year
to,
in,
yeah.
and we're still back in it. And I don't know when you guys are listening to this, but today is 31st of March in Bombay, and we are supposedly bracing and preparing for a second lockdown. I think. I don't know.
There's no clarity. Only I'm feeling really out in the lost in the sea in the woods.
Stuck.
Yeah, perhaps that's the similar feeling. It's just yeah. I'm not here to complain. Most definitely not, because I think everyone is doing the best they can given the situation.
But बस एक साल से यही कह रहे हैं that just make the most of it. Just make the most.
Yeah, because especially as this young millennial population, there's a lot of focus on progress, moving forward. सब कुछ dynamic चाहिए, career growth, job hopping, paisa, better opportunities. People are just running in a race. And I guess this race has suddenly come to a standstill because now we're just doing the bare minimum, I guess. Not the bare minimum, but what we can do to keep afloat. And honestly, I think the biggest stuckish feeling for me is, and I've acknowledged it probably only over the last 2-3 days properly, that I'm processing the whole of the last year's emotional trauma, mental stress. And I think now I'm finally at a healthy place where I can reflect and be like, okay, I have a lot of healing to do. So maybe I'm not stuck. I'm stuck
Honestly,
inside me. I feel like you've zoned out on me.
I haven't zoned out. I was listening, but this is not any disrespect to you at all. It's just I'm so done with hearing about, like, not from you. I mean,
not
these
just
words
from you. Ouch. Okay, then Ayushi, I will only be speaking to my therapist about my problems.
That's a lie. No, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean that hearing from you. Hearing from every single media source, all content, all the companies that love to, pick up a specific moment, any national day, and be like, oh, now it's time for you to do this. I just mean that you keep hearing that you need to process your trauma. You have to heal. You have to give yourself time and space and all of this stuff to get through it and work through your stuff in a healthy way. But what about the people who aren't used to doing that and whose lifestyles are more, centered around, look, the way that I deal with stuff is I get on with it. And like, I just pick up the next thing. And I'm not making any value judgments on that. I'm just saying that for people like that, this has been so hard because there hasn't been anything to pick up and move on to. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a hobby, whether it's a fight that you have from someone, at the end of the day, like, if you're not able to just pick up and move to the next thing because you're locked down and you're stuck in your house and XYZ activities are not permitted, you're kind of like, okay, now I'm forced to sit and stew in these emotions.
Yeah, I mean, there's no escape, quite literally.
There isn't. Yeah, and I think the last year I've stewed more than I've stewed in my life.
And also, you've changed a lot in the last year for the better, I say. So maybe the stewing is helping you.
Yeah, and that's very frustrating.
Ayushi, kaisa aadmi hai tu yaar?
I just want to move on. I just need to get on. But this episode is terrible.
Maybe there's something to explore here. This is a discomfort. And honestly, when we do plays or when we do so when you're doing a scene which requires silence, for example, and two characters, and like there's a pause, sometimes I feel, and also like people I've worked with, to really wait and let the silence get uncomfortable for the audience and for the performers, because in that discomfort something is born. Maybe right now, and this is a thought from the top of my head, perhaps this is the period of feeling stuck, of feeling frustrated, and this entire process is just us sitting with discomfort, which is something we've never done. Maybe something magical might come out of it.
Oh, that's like quite wise.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a rebuttal or I can't refuse it. So yeah, I'll allow it.
Yeah, I think we should allow it. Let's allow ourselves to sit with that discomfort, because I think the whole obsession of like, nay, everything will be okay, everything will be okay, everything is okay. I think that the moving forward, like suppose you're making that tunnel, but abhi we've hit a dead end, and that tunnel, which the end is everything is okay, not reached that yet. So maybe right now we're stuck in the tunnel, and there is a little bit of light, and we have each other, all of us, and we can exchange jokes and rhyming couplets and dirty limericks.
This sounds like a really frustrating tunnel for me. Like this is the tunnel in which I crack and I go on like a murder spree or something like that. But I see your point. I see your point of like, but you know, you're not wrong, because maybe 2021 was marginally better in terms of things opening up, and yeah, we're seeing a little bit of movement, and it's backfired clearly. But what I mean but I think 2020 was that discomfort pause, whether we liked it or not, we were forced into it. Like somebody pressed pause on the movie and then just walked away from the screen for a really long time. Yeah. And we were just like, is he going to restart the movie? Is this like, do we just watch this? So I think we were forced to do that. And there was I don't want to say reset, because I know that great reset has been co-opted by some conspiracy theory situation. But in terms of resetting the way you approached work, family, relationships, friendships, interactions in your life, that definitely took place. Whether you like it or not, you reevaluated all these interactions and took a lot of stock in terms of like, you know how many people have decided to leave their jobs and do something else? People who have left relationships and moved on. People who've moved out of busy cities and decided that, hey, I no longer need this, no longer serves me.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So actually, if you think about it, we've seen so much like demographic change. We've seen geographic change. We've seen economic change. So while you and I have been saying, oh, we're stuck. And yes, we feel it. The world has, as we know it, changed.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm realizing this as I'm saying it out loud. So this is not something that I've written down. I'm just running with this thought here, is that it really, maybe it was necessary for us to stop for a second so that the world around us could just quickly reset itself or change a little bit or pivot in the direction that we need to be in, you know, and we stood still for a second that, okay, let the room change. And when it's done moving, I'll start again.
Possibly. All I can think about is Evergreen Panamax, which is the embodiment of every human spirit.
Stuck. No, she's out now. She's out now. Yeah. She's been out since a day and a half. She's I hope that she was the bookend of the year. You know, I hope that like COVID starting and the ripple effect of it globally, that was one bookend. And then you ended with this very simplistic problem of a ship just getting stuck in a canal, and all the repercussions of that as the other bookend. So I want this to be the brackets that encapsulates 2020.
2021 financial year. The
financial year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like she could, you're right. 30th and 31st of March, like it's done now.
Yeah.
So as of tomorrow, everyone, COVID doesn't exist.
As of tomorrow, COVID might exist, but our attitude towards the world should be like it doesn't exist. No.
No, that's much worse than what I said.
So then what are you saying?
I'm obviously being facetious. Please, COVID has not ended if you are in any of the cities in India or globally where the numbers are rising. Please be careful. Please be cautious. If you're able to take a vaccine, go take it. In fact, just last night, my family and I had this massive argument at the table about because I was so frustrated at the situation that COVID was having on my work, not just this audit thing, but in general.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just I'm so frustrated because the government hasn't made a bigger push to like educate people about the vaccine and to make them less scared about it. And here is where you should have been using the power of Bollywood, and you should have been using this nexus of communicators that they can switch on and switch off so easily, and we know that they can. So why not use it for this kind of stuff? Because there's so many people who are reluctant to take the vaccine and who might not trust it, who might not think that it's safe yet, who might not think it's necessary. And I was just so angry that we have a solution now, but people are still not taking it, because you're reading all this news about vaccines not going to waste, but people not turning up to the centers.
That's their problem.
No, you're saying that that's their problem, but it's like our problem, because the longer people don't take it.
We have failed, yes.
I'm saying that we've kind of, there needs to be a media campaign around this stuff as well. And so if you're listening to our show, there's a lot of
make a media campaign.
And there's a lot of good research showing you why the vaccine is not dangerous. It's not detrimental to your current or future health. It just helps you not turn COVID into a fatal eventuality. I mean, you might still get it, but at least it's not going to kill you. So, I don't know, do some research, get the vaccine. This show has escaped me.
Cool, let's take a short break and come back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Siet Tires and the Whole Truth Foods. We really appreciate the support. So this week, Tune Into This Round is on me with Gauri Devidayal. She invited Sonal Holland, India's only master of wine, and they discussed the goodness and business of wine, the pros and cons of being women in the hospitality business, and motherhood. On The Traveling Professor, Siddharth Deshmukh looks at evolution of search and wonders how voice search might change things yet again. On Advertising is Dead, Varun Dugirala featured Anirudh Singla of Pepper Content. He shared his perspective on the term content and how he sees it going forward. On Storytellers and Storysellers, Vinny spoke to Ayushman Sinha, head of Represent, a music talent management agency. He spoke about life as a manager and about nurturing new talent and paving a progressive career path for them. On Cyrus Says, we had entrepreneur, businesswoman, and Ruckus Avenue radio host Alexandra Masur. They discussed ethnicity, life as Desi American, Seema Auntie's matchmaking show, and a lot of other fun stuff. Also, IVM has an hour every Sunday on the Ruckus Avenue Radio Network, a US-based radio station that caters to the South Asian community. It's available on Dash Radio, and you can catch the episodes on the IVM Likes feed every Monday. On The Habit Coach with Ashton Doctor, Ashton asks us to commit to sleep and prioritize it over every party, work deadline, or binge watch session, as it is a crucial time when the body slows down for maintenance and recovery. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
And welcome back. We were talking about just feeling stuck, this feeling of endless. I feel like I'm sitting in a vanity van, hair and makeup ready, but वो shot ready नहीं हो रहा है कब से.
That's
a AD को 10 बार पूछा, like, when is my shot? Like, madam, not now.
That's interesting. That's a cool metaphor, because you're ready. So
and
then,
you're waiting. It's yeah.
But then what's the difference between stuck and waiting?
I think when you're stuck, you really feel like there's a full block and kuch abhi ho nahi sakta. As opposed to waiting. Waiting has a sense of hopefulness to it. Something is going to happen, perhaps. So I'll just talk about my recent life journey in the past couple of months. If you're okay with that, Ayushi.
Yeah, I mean, I know this, so I can take an Instagram break.
No, you're so mean.
I'm just kidding. I'm listening. Go.
Okay, so I've been going through many changes in terms of everyday physical life, space-wise, emotionally. I no longer live alone, so I live with my parents. Now I feel stuck sometimes with them also. And that's a barrier I've really had to push through in the last couple of weeks. Because I'll travel for work, I'll go away for 1 week, and I'll be really happy and I'll be fine and stuff. Then I'll come back home and my irritation would begin. And I hated being that person who would just wake up and step out of her bedroom and be annoyed with her parents. Because I love them, I'm grateful for everything, but also I was getting hella annoyed. So then I had a conversation with them, which started off as me just being like bitchy and snappy and done some bad behaviors. And then my mom called it out. And the whole of Holi, the entire day of Holi, which was like day before yesterday, all we've done is between the dining table and my room, walking in and out, we've just kept talking about the matters, the issues that have been bothering.
Oh, this is new information to me.
Right? See? And here you think you know everything because you have left me alone and run off to Alibag.
I went to Alibag for a day, less than 24 hours.
That's not true.
I left on the 12 o'clock speedboat on Sunday and I came back on the 10:30 speedboat on Monday. So less than 24 hours.
Oh, I thought you went for much longer. 2 nights at least.
No, I went for 1 night.
Anyway, so the whole of Holi, this has happened. I think my major issue is that I have been, now Ayushi is going to have to bear with me on this. I feel like her angst is rising as I speak each word, but...
No, I'm keeping it together.
It's all this, you have to heal and process, yevo. All of these things which we all sometimes are like, okay, fine. We just need to pick up the pieces and move on. Yes, I agree. And between the moving out and the breaking up and getting COVID and not having had any work for 6 months, you suddenly start moving on, with life. So all of those things happen.
Yeah.
And the world starts again. And I start working. I move on with my life, start talking to other men, whatever, move back in with my parents. And you're moving on. You are trying to just pick it up and move forward. And then at some point in that moving forward, the time that you left behind and you hadn't processed, it does hit you. And that's exactly what's happened to me, because that's where I am now. And stuff that I ignored in October, November, December. Welcome. It's April 2021 and it's here to play. It's like, hey, remember we had this feeling in October and we didn't talk about it?
Yeah.
So that's where I am with my emotions, which I had kept stuck and tried to pick up and move on with.
So out of the two of us, if you're listening, clearly don't take my advice of picking up and moving on, because it does come back to bite you later.
No, and we've discussed this before also. Of course, at some point, you don't know in what way, shape or form it takes.
I think we talked about this on Saturday when we had breakfast. I met you on Saturday. Exactly. You were having breakfast and I just, you were saying all this, the funny stuff of different like boys and relationships and all this, the exciting fun stuff of moving on, the juicy part, the gossipy parts, the gossip. You were giving me the gossip on the dudes, whatever's going on right now. And that was so exciting. And then you started telling me something like, but I'm doing this now. And normally this would cause me to maybe raise my eyebrows to be like, okay, interesting. And this is coming from ? Where? But this time, I think all I remember saying was, this is definitely because you haven't processed last year. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know that you have not been able to deal with the demise of your relationship last year. And that's why this is happening now. Because when it ended, you guys said it was the most normal, mature, clean, nice,
as we are trying for it to be even now.
Yeah, accepting ending. And then you left and you walked away from that situation. You got a lot of space from it. So you, I think, were led to believe that it's fixed, that it's done. But everything that you've been going through for the last couple of months and the adventures that you've been getting into, which I am enjoying because mere life mein to kuch ho hi nahi raha hai. So if I'm stuck in the tunnel, I'm watching your TV. Like I'm watching your life on screen. You're 100% what I don't want to say it's textbook because I always feel that's a very attacking thing to say to someone, but it is textbook. This is definitely you processing the grief from last year. And you were in a really long relationship. There was a lot to grieve.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone who is probably like had some form of change, loss, My dad told me this at dinner that night. And it's such a simple statement, really. He didn't say any rocket science. But on Holi, after this day full of talking,
Yeah.
they've decided they want to appease me. So they have said, come, let's go out for dinner. Because I had been saying since morning we should go out. Not because we are like brave and we don't care about COVID. We do. That's why they never go out for dinner. So I was like, we have to go. And then we're just like sitting and ordering dim sum and whatnot. And my dad's like, it's been a tough year for everyone. Because a lot of my family's baggage also of the fighting and feeling annoyed with each other and the feeling stuck and feeling like helpless and frustrated, it all has stemmed from the pandemic. And it's just easier to point fingers at each other and blame each other. But we forget that there is this whole, I don't even know what this thing is. It's just out there.
And I used to see these tweets all the time of people being like, listen, calm down. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, hey, give yourself a break. We're in a pandemic. And I used to see them all the time last year. And we
need them now.
But you know how I am, right, about these things. And I think the listeners know as well. I'm so dismissive of this as like a kind of like a cop out, because I'm like, once again, you don't want to deal with your shit. And so you're just copping out of it. Yeah. But I was wrong. Like, I'm so wrong, because what you just said, even us like living together in the house, and yes, super privileged, super blessed, cannot complain in that way. But when you turn around and look at how much the fabric of your relationships as a family has changed in 1 year, I keep thinking like, have we become, some days I think, we've become so much more loving towards each other. And then some days, these days come more often than I would like. Is that some days I think, when did we become so mean? Like, when did we decide that it's okay to lash out at the people that either have given you birth or that you've given birth to? Like, both ways. I'm not absolving them of anything. I'm saying more that when did we decide to become these people? And I guess truly it's because you're trying to keep a family, a company, a life afloat, when so much of the world is telling you, nope, you can't do this, and nope, you can't do that, and no, this is not going to happen either, and oh no, that business, we're taking it away from you, and this failure, that's going to happen right when you don't need it, you're going to have to fail. And it's so ungrateful, but literally sometimes you're laying in bed and you're like, how much are you supposed to take?
I agree. And like, honestly, the whole of last year, I kept writing my gratitude journal, because I was like, chalo, at least grateful for all the things we have. Yes. Recently when I spoke to my therapist, she was like, I think what I've gathered from that conversation is that, like, I'm frustrated, and please keep this within context, listeners. I'm not saying that I don't have gratitude. I'm extremely grateful, but we have been grateful now. But also, what more is there? So I was feeling stuck in gratitude also. Just like feeling thankful for even like the smallest thing, which should be normal in a certain, like, if you have worked for it. Yeah, okay, expecting something isn't like crazy, but you feel grateful all the time. So
you're right. That's been an adjustment that we've had to make right now, because you no longer have the ability to complain without feeling guilty.
Guilt. Exactly. I was coming to that. So yeah.
Guilt is a very big part of this whole feeling stuck thing, because guilt holds us back so often. Guilt holds you back when you're trying to even speak to the people in your life, the people like your family, your friends, your partner, for sure, but also guilt at work. I feel so much guilt at work because obviously my company has people from various economic stratas of life. And so anything that escapes my mouth in terms of a good thing or a bad thing, I immediately, my brain is like, context. In the grand scheme, this is nothing for you to be happy about or complain about. So then once again, you shut it down and you keep it and you're like, okay, it's happened. It happened and moved on. And you're like, wow, not that on the normal day that I wouldn't, and this is not like saying that, I got diamonds and cars and things like that. It's like that. It's just that it's as good as this weekend, I had the amazing opportunity to run away to Alibag to a friend's house for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I came back to work on Tuesday morning and, my colleague was like, how was your weekend? And I was about to be like, oh my God, I had the best little bubble of like 24 hours of joy. And And then I immediately stopped myself because I'm like, oh no, wait, she just had a kid. And her mother-in-law's moved in with her because they can't have staff in their building because it's still a pandemic situation. And her husband has started going to work because his company doesn't allow work from home. And I know all of this. And I'm like, her life this weekend was not 24 hours in Alibag.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I did was I was like, yeah, it was good. I just, got a lot of sleep. And she was like, oh my God, you're so lucky. And I was like, I was like, oh shit, I made a mistake. I shouldn't even have said that. And I'm not blaming her.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not blaming myself. I don't regret Mehek's offer to join her and her family for a day. It's just, you're stuck. You're really stuck in the middle of these three things. And you're like, shit, man, we clearly had more to unpack here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel...
Sorry, but I did not expect myself to cry so much in this episode.
I now have a baseline expectation that you might cry in an episode. So I'm never upset anymore that you're crying.
Good.
No, not upset as in like, I never feel like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? Now I'm just like, it's okay. It's happening. She will cry and it will be done.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's just a release, right? Sometimes when you're stuck and you're just sitting there and you start crying and you don't know why, it's okay. It's happening. It's happening right now. It happened to me in, did I tell you? Jan first week?
Of this year?
Yeah. I was driving to work and my eyes just filled with tears.
Oh my God.
Bear in mind, I haven't cried for a while. So I fully expected the first quarter, like at some point. I thought it would be around my birthday, but touch wood, this year birthday was a very happy week. So I had no reason to complain. But Monday, I think Jan, first week I was driving to work and just tears.
Oh my
God. No reason whatsoever.
It's never no reason. It's a reason which you don't know.
Yeah. But in the sense that there was no trigger that I can think of. I think it was possibly a song because it was like, that's the only thing that I can maybe say that, some lyric must have just set it off completely. But it happened and I was sitting there in the car and I literally was saying to myself, oh, it's happening. It's happening. Happening right now. Okay, it's happening. Okay, so what do we do? And then I'm sitting there like, okay, first of all, our makeup is ruined. It's done now. So do we pull over or do we just ride through this? And I was like, you know what? I chose Bollywood.
Yeah.
So I drove through it. And I was on the ceiling crying. I
love that. I feel like if I could drive, I would always be crying while driving.
But drives saved me this in COVID.
Yeah.
Like being able to pick up the keys and walk out of the house and be like, I need some space.
Yep. I'm curious to now go back and listen to our last year's COVID episodes. I feel like I will look back and be like, oh,
sweet babies.
Ritzy, you're so sweet.
I thought that if we did, we'd realize that we were complaining a lot.
Yes.
Or that we were trying so hard not to complain that we kept coming up with ways to
be
make
productive
ourselves
and positive.
Feel better. Yeah. Everything was very like, let's find ways that you can, reclaim your health, reclaim your mental health. These are the women who are shining. These are the people saving us in this pandemic. And it was right. There was this whole thing of let's feel gratitude as opposed to attitude.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel both now though. And I allow those both feelings to exist.
Allow it.
Yeah. Cool. I have really, I don't know what else to say. I think we've explored the various things we had to about this feeling stuck in second gear. I mean, what worries you about the future, Ayushi? Do you have doubts about it? Or does the future worry about you?
I think for the last 6 months, I have been baseline worried about the future. I've been worried about like work. I've been worried about my personal life. I've been worried about, not moving forward. Like I'm so like stuck in that gear, which is you have to be moving forward. Like if you're not moving forward, you're in the same place. And if you're in the same place, you're moving backwards. I've been doing that for so long. But in the last 2 months, I would say in the last 1 month, maybe March, birthday month. Yeah. So March, this last 1 month, I think I have been sent reminders by the world and various people and places and items in my life. Like I've been sent reminders that the future needs to be scared of me.
Whoa.
Because I'm not kidding. This year, after so many years, this year's birthday month, which is a big thing for me because I usually go through a lot in March. Like it's the beginning of the year and like my birthday brings up a lot of emotion. So I'm not very stable usually around this time. But this year I just felt like, okay, so what? Okay, yeah, it's happened.
You've grown up, Ayushi. You've become a real adult.
Yeah, I think I no longer need the show. That's a lie. I need it every day. Yawning.
I love that. Very nice, very sweet, real yawn and real stretch you've given us.
Yeah, I'm good, dude. I think it's gonna be fine.
I love that attitude. So that listeners, it's gonna be fine. See, Ayushi has said it correctly. You don't need to worry about the future. The future needs to worry about you.
It does. I really feel that the amount of, and the cool things coming out of this, I will tie this up with just one like historical thing. If you look back in modern human history and let's talk about modern human history. Every single time that the world or large majorities of the world have gone through massive changes, whether it's disease, famine, war, things like terrorism, whether it's social upheaval, like when women got the right to vote, like all these things that were big landmark countries getting their freedom, like when the colonial empire reduced, all these different historical turning points, or that if you think of history as a rope at different places where you tack it down, where different like big moments happen. Every time that those things have happened, we have always seen a burst of art, culture, and influence a little bit later. Because from that trauma, from that pain, from that inability to move forward and that stuck feeling, we have seen the most amazing art, poetry, literature, innovations come out. Dash, are you stuck? Am I even on this call? I don't know. Okay, well, I'll just wrap it up by saying, this art thing. So I fully expect really cool things to come out of this as well, which is why it's going to be fine. It's really going to be fine. I don't think we have anything more because also Tash has left me. So I need to close this out. You want other such fun podcasts, you can find them at the IVM app. And you can follow them on at IVM Podcasts on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also find Tash and I on Instagram. Tash is at RYTASH and I am at AyushiA9. And you can also find me on Twitter at Just Ayushi. Write to us. We have aglastationadulthood@gmail.com. We answer the emails. I answer the emails because I'm super keen, but I always check with Tash first. So don't worry. You're getting the celebrity viewpoint as well. But take care. Have a good week. And she's back. Say bye.
And I have been recording here separately because I was like, I don't know why my internet has dropped. I want to say some words of wisdom. What did you say? Words of wisdom you gave?
No, I just said that like so much art always comes from after a period of trauma. So
absolutely,
cool things are coming for all of us.
Yes. Sure then. Thank you for listening. I hope we've helped you, even if you're feeling stuck and still feeling stuck after this, because it's a fine feeling. But we will sit with the discomfort and this too shall pass. If you liked this podcast, you said everything. Wow, Ayushi. So I guess the show doesn't need me anymore.
I literally, what did I say? I can't do this, so I'm just going to wrap it up.
Okay, bye,
I
listeners.
didn't exactly say that, but I felt it.
Bye-bye.
You can find this podcast and other such fantastic content on ivmpodcast.com or at IVM Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you would like to find me personally, you can find me on Twitter at Just Ayushi or on Instagram at AyushiA9.
And you will find me only on Instagram at RYTASH.
Ciao.
Namaskar, dear friends. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. Life, as you know, is a journey. And you and I, travelers, how can we celebrate this travel? I have a podcast for you. Begin the journey. I share stories and moments from my life. Do tune in every Monday and Thursday to listen to my podcast on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Cheers.
Working Monday to Friday glued to your chair making you feel dull? Worry not. Get your 5-minute weekly dose of travel around the world with Postcards from Nowhere. Join me every Thursday as I explore the strange, obscure, and fascinating parts of the world and bring out facets of travel you may not have thought of before. You can find us on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.